he has kilts that are wool and fit well around the waist because they were made correctly with excess fabric cut away from the inside. But is it common to have a kilt made without excess fabric being cut away? Could I have that fixed, or would that be costly?
He's talking about scalloping?
Yeah, talking about scalloping out. Yeah. When you have an 8-yard kilt, you have effectively an 8-yard kilt. You have 1 yard of cloth for the front apron, 1 yard for the under apron, 1 yard for the front apron, and then you have 6 yards pleated up across the back. And when you pleat up 6 yards of cloth, it gets pretty thick. Like I would say 5/8 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch. So as a kilt maker, what we do is, because you don't want to carry all that weight around and all that heat, we actually scallop out the insides of the kilt up in the upper portion. Then we take a horsehair canvas lining, we line it inside that, we steek it, and then we cover it up with a cotton lining so you don't see all the nastiness in the inside of the kilt. If you don't scallop that out, it would be really, really difficult to sew because you're trying to sew through, 3/4 of an inch of fabric.
Right.
And B, it would be very, very, very hot.
I feel like wearing a bath towel or a sumo wrestler thing would be like super thick.
Not in the front, just in the back. It would be super thick.
All right.
But yeah.
So it'd be like a back brace then.
Yeah. So you need to cut it out. Period. Can it be done if yours isn't done? Yes, but you're talking about taking a kilt halfway apart and then reconstructing it. I've seen exactly what you're talking about. I've seen kilts that don't have the inside scalloped out on an 8-yard kilt. In that case, they probably also don't have the horsehair canvas and all the reinforcements on the inside. They're also probably not steeked. So to do it the right way, yes, would be pretty expensive because you'd be paying someone, or you'd be doing it yourself, to take out the lining and then take off the waistband, scallop all the stuff out, steek the bottom of each of the pleats, sew them all together, put in the horsehair canvas. You'd have to hand sew the eyelet for putting the strap through on the left side of the kilt. So, and then hand sew the lining back in the kilt, all from cloth that you already have, and hoping you don't make any mistakes. Because if you make a mistake, then it could, screw it up. So, yeah, I hope you didn't pay too much for it.
Is this something that happens when it's a homemade or cottage industry made kilt?
No.
Or is it a fast mass production made overseas kind of thing where they just? How does it happen? Because I can't imagine.
I've seen it a few different ways. I've seen and let me actually take a half step back. Not all kilts need the fabric scalloped out on the inside.
If it's a lighter material or a thinner material,
or if it's a 5-yard kilt.
Okay.
If there's less yardage on a 5-yard kilt, you have 1 yard for the under apron, 1 yard for the over apron, and then 3 yards across the back.
Okay.
3 yards stacked up isn't real thick. Therefore, you don't need to scallop everything out because you don't scallop it out. You don't need the horsehair canvas, yada, yada, yada. For kilts that I've personally seen like that, where basically Pakistani kilts, where it takes time to do the scalloping. It takes time to put in the horsehair canvas. It takes time to hand sew the bottom of the lining down. So it is generally a corner that is cut. The 2 times I've seen it are from Pakistani kilts, where they do a higher yardage kilt.
Okay.
And I've also seen, I won't name the maker in Scotland, but one of the mills had a ton of extra cloth, and they just wanted to kind of get a bunch of kilts out there as quickly as possible, and they skip that step to be able to throw something out in the market at a lower price point, so that they're not, it's a $300 8-yard kilt versus a $500 8-yard kilt, because they took a lot of the internal steps out of the construction process. Now, it's cheaper, but you deal with a thick back, like weightlifting belt that you're strapping on kind of thing.
Exactly.
And you deal with the heat issues. But I've seen it happen. It's not the right way to do it.
But you can't just go in and cut that stuff out of a kilt you already have.
You can. It's
going to be
you should know what you're doing. Don't if you haven't sewn, you've hand sewn a couple buttons on, don't try this. You could take it to a kilt maker if they do the alterations and they could do it for you, but you're talking probably a couple to a few $100 because it's going to take a good chunk of change or a good chunk of time to rip it apart and put it all back together.
I think I know what the answer is.
Buy a new kilt.
Yeah, if you're not satisfied with a kilt, sell it on eBay and put the money towards a new kilt.
Yeah. Especially if it fits you well, it's kind of one thing.
I was confused whether... I think he said he had some that he could tell were scalloped and they fit well, but this one didn't. Is the impression I was getting from the phrasing of the question.
Mac,
that
did he
this
say
one
that?
was not scalloped and it felt wrong.
That's kind of... Well, he's got... Well, and I don't think he meant that there was one that felt wrong. It just... He's noticed that on these, this one doesn't seem to have it.
Felt thicker.
Okay.
Does it? Okay. Does he need to have it? Does it not need to have it? That's
so. If he's looking at a 5-yard or 4-yard kilt, then maybe it's fine. If he's looking at an 8-yard,
yeah. Now it's generally speaking, it is a cost cutting practice, which especially on 8-yard kilts, which some companies do because they don't want to take the time and or effort. And or they just want to sell it at a cheaper price point, and by saving that time, they can sell it at a cheaper price point.